cell phones is that you used to debate shit with people a lot, and you couldn't resolve it like right then. And just to sort of put this in context, because Peel was just up here, I was at this summer camp, and this girl from Virginia started playing the Connells. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is the Connells. And she's like, yeah, they're from my hometown. And I'm like, oh, you're from Raleigh. She's like, no, they're from Virginia Beach. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're from Raleigh. She's like, they're from Virginia Beach. And I was like, their fucking album's called Boylan Heights, bitch. Like, I fucking live there, man. Like, shut up. And she's like, you're wrong. And I'm like, but you couldn't resolve that shit. Like, that girl's still mad at me right now. I'm mad at her. Because I was right. Before there were cell phones, you couldn't resolve that stuff. Anyway, it was better back then. Okay. We had a show last December, a year ago, called Hangovers and Promises. And Little Raleigh Radio founder Kelly Reed came on and told a story called Kelly Belly, which ended up being one of our best of 7 stories from 2015. She's back. Oh, she's cursing me for telling this story. Anyway, she's back to tell the story. Please welcome to the stage Kelly Reed.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so the name of my story is called Peaches, and to your dismay, it's not about porn. I'm sorry. sorry, you know, right? Night's over, the girl's not going to talk about porn, sorry. Okay, so I was born April 20th, 4/20, 1984. Go ahead.
Kelly.
Okay, yeah. 1984, so there's not been very much of my life without cell phones. I remember my first cell phone because I started waiting tables at 15 and a half. It got me out of the house, it earned me money, cash in hand, at the end of every table. In my back pocket, I saved up enough and I bought my first cell phone after I convinced my dad that it was the most logical thing that he needed to do to keep in touch with me because I was working and I needed this cell phone. So he added me onto his contract and I had one, and that I think was probably 16 and a half, 17. And I've had one pretty much the majority of my life. So I had to dig pretty hard for this story. And it put me back into a time that I realized I have done a really good job of blocking out of my memory. And that's high school. Right? You know, they say high school never ends. It really fucking never ends. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So I had to think back to the age 15, between 15 and 16. And at the age of 15, pretty much my whole entire life, I was a fat kid. And if you were here for my story, Kelly Belly, back in December, you would know a lot of that. And I was a nerd, so I was round, I was chubby as my dad liked to say. And I was a nerd, I was super smart. And I didn't have a lot of friends, because I was also a tomboy. Just layered on in high school, right? And didn't have a lot of friends, but I had this one friend in high school, and her name was Peaches. Her real name is Shauna, but she went by Peaches. Demanded that she went by Peaches. And I remember the day that, you know, like we'd gotten like pictures done for the yearbook, and they made announcements. If you've had any, you know, name changes or are there any corrections that you'd like to make, please go down to the yearbook office, deadlines, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I remember her coming back, she's like, my name is gonna be Peaches in the yearbook. They got it right. All right. Her and I couldn't have been more opposite. I mean, we were about the same height, but I think there was about a 60-pound difference, right? You know, 5'6". She's maybe a $110. I was a lovely 170. Yeah. And She had confidence, just exuding from every orifice of her body. You could see the bones and all of her, she's just thin. I just remember her as being very thin. And but she was a pioneer of so many things. She took no shit from anybody and she gave 0 fucks. And her name was Peaches. Right? And she's skinny. This skinny white girl with thick brown hair, and did terribly in all of her classes. I mean, D's, F's, and here I am like halfway paying attention, trying to hang out with Peaches in every class. I'm getting straight A's, just farting them out, just A's everywhere, right? Because I'm a fat nerd. And, but her and I became friends, and I was thinking about it earlier this week. I don't know how we became friends. We didn't, she was just cool and a rebellious person, and I was a fat dork. I don't know why we were friends. We didn't look similar. We didn't have anything in common, except that I think that we were both loners. Like we both felt a little on the fringe, I think, and our fringes were different, but we bonded over that fringe. And so we became friends, and we always passed notes, always, because there were no cell phones in, freshman, sophomore year of high school. We didn't have cell phones. We passed notes. And I dug out one earlier this week, which I'll read at the end. We religiously passed notes. We had a notebook that we would hand off from period to period, and just journaling of notes. And it was quite extensive, and we became very good friends. I think I helped her in English class. I think I got her up to a C. She helped me smoke my first cigarette. I was preparing for this story over Thanksgiving, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, she also helped you skip school for the first time." I was like, yeah. We just did it. We just left school between periods and just walked down the highway. Got caught shortly after. And I remember, so I started thinking back to Peaches, and I remember one night I was allowed to stay at her house. So I had very, not controlling parents, but my parents wanted to know where I was at and what I was doing and who I was with, which I think parents still should know these days. And I convinced my dad that it was okay, it was a Friday night, I'm gonna stay at Peaches' house, we're just gonna watch a movie, we're not gonna do anything, it's gonna be great. So she had set up this elaborate plan for us to sneak out. And we weren't sneaking out of, I was trying to figure out whether or not to bring this detail into the story, but it's pretty important. We were sneaking, she lived in a trailer. And if you've ever been in a single wide, you move a window on one side of the trailer, it just reverberates across the whole side, the whole trailer. Like there's no you just hear everything. It's a mobile home. It was plopped there by an 18-wheeler. So we had planned to sneak out. So I got clearance from my dad. She had put everything in motion. We're gonna go hang out with her friend Juan, and we're gonna smoke some really shitty weed. Right? 15 and a half. Awesome. So we waited for her mom to put her brother to bed. We went to bed. I think we probably clued her mom off because we went to bed so easily. She's like, "Hey, just come to bed. We're not doing anything. Go to bed." So we went to bed. We waited for her mom to go to bed. We heard her mom take a shower. We heard her mom get into bed. We heard her mom set the alarm. We waited. And we slowly, gave about 20, 25 minutes, we slowly snuck out of that trailer. Slowly. It was easy for her because she's 110. It was hard for me because I was fat. I'm not joking. It was hard. And we snuck out. We walked out of the trailer park. We hit the back road, and we walked probably a mile up to Highway 74 in Concord, North Carolina, to the BP, where she had 2 cigarettes, I had 1 cigarette, and we had 4 quarters. So we got to the payphone, in which she dropped a quarter in. She sent a beep. Do you guys remember beepers? Yes, right? So she sent a beep to her friend Juan with her code, which was 696969. Right? Yeah. And we waited. And we waited 20 minutes. And then we sent another code, 696969, with the number to the payphone, hoping that he could decipher the 3 sets of 69 with the number to the phone. So we wait. So that was quarter number 2. So we're down 2 quarters. We have 2 quarters left. We dispersed the number to the payphone, to the beeper. And there's no, like, you can't see the numbers. You know, like, we take all these things for granted. You know, like, oh, sent the wrong, you don't memorize. First of all, can you call out your best friend's phone number right now? Probably not, right? Like, so we had to have all these things. I mean, this was meticulously planned, right? And you have to push it just right, or you start over and hope you get your quarter back. So we pressed everything just right, sent the number out, and we waited another 20 minutes. And eventually the phone rang. One's like, okay, I'll be there. And we told him it was the BP 74, before you get to the food line. Got it, okay, great. So we're like an hour and a half into our adventure, waiting for Juan to get there. And we can't call him because he doesn't have a cell phone. And we can't call his house because we're all in the ranges of 15 to 18. So we're waiting and we're waiting. So we send again. Sure, okay. 2 quarters in, second to last quarter, still hasn't shown up. Hour and a half, sitting at the BP, slightly behind it, in case any sheriff drove by, they couldn't see us. I mean, because if you saw 2 15-and-a-half-year-old girls singing a BP in the middle of Cabarrus County, you would raise questions. And so we sent him another beep, and it was some 696969 911 911, you know, and the number for the payphone, and then nothing. And I remember smoking those cigarettes, and I don't remember what portion of my life where I went from hating cigarettes to liking cigarettes. It wasn't that night. That night I hated the cigarettes. They were pretty terrible. We smoked them anyway. And we waited probably another 30 minutes, and we sent another 696969 911 911 911 with the number of the payphone. Juan never showed up. We never got stoned. We never had this amazing night at the age 15-and-a-half. We had to walk back the mile, down the hill, up the hill, to the trailer. Like we should, like all of that work. And we got back to the trailer, and I remember her putting her foot on the hitch, because her room was on the end, to get to the window to lift it back up, and it was locked. Yeah, busted. Because her mom was smart, you know. Like, I got away with that stuff at my house, but her mom was really smart. And we had to knock on the front door. Her mom had to get up, you know, put her slippers on, walk. You girls are in trouble. And I got in a lot more trouble with Peaches, whether it was deciding to skip school prior to that, or, you know, whatever we did. You know, I'm pretty sure I smoked my first joint with Peaches. You know, it's just lots of trouble. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, what really made us friends? You know, like, was it the notes? Was it sneaking out and doing all the dumb things? Like, at what point did I look across the room and go, I want to be friends with her? And then I started thinking about all the friends I have today, and how I keep in touch with them, and how you, like, sporadically send text messages or Facebook messages, and how you really don't write notes or letters anymore. And I think I'm going to go back to that. Like, I almost did it the other night. I almost wrote a little note and dropped it in one of my good girlfriend's mailboxes that lives close to me, and I was like, ah, maybe a little creepy. Yeah, it might be a little stalker. But I think my pledge for 2017 is to look at friendship, because then I started thinking about it, and the only thing that we don't have on cell phones right now is how we don't have apps for getting friends. Like, we have apps for everything else, and we don't have apps for getting friends, and I'm really afraid that might happen. So I think in 2017, I'm going to reach out to the friends I have and hold them a little bit more closely. Because I reached out to Peaches, who is actually Shauna Rufty, on Facebook, and she didn't respond. It's okay. I wasn't expecting it. I just wanted her to know that I was doing this. I wanted to say hi. She does, however, have this really badass like red streak in her hair, and I have this orange streak. So I was like, yeah, there's still this like connection. And so in digging through everything to get ready for this tonight and thinking about my short amount of life before there were cell phones, I realized that I'd thrown away the notebook. And I kicked myself for that. But I have this one letter I found in my box. And it is, she addressed it, Kelly Reed, 100 Best Friend Boulevard, Honeyville, USA, and the zip code is 311, because 311, that was our band. Yeah. 311911. And then the return address is Peaches Rufty, 420 Grateful Dead Drive, Cloud 9, La La Land, 69420, with the stamp that says Nowhere, USA. And it says on the back, it says SWAK, sealed with a kiss. And I read it last night, and I read it the night before, and it still like made me cry, so just bear with me. It says, Kelly, hey girly, what's up, with a question mark. What's up with you? I'm just writing to tell you thank you for being such a great friend. You're always there for me with a smile and a kind word. You're not afraid to speak your mind, and you always keep it real. No smelling piles of bullshit here. And I wish I had like something to project on the screen, because she has drawn the first ever poop emoji. No, I kid you not. Like, I just wanted to tell her, like, you invented the poop emoji. It's here in our letter from 1029, 5th period, room D99. Like, she invented the poop emoji. Okay, so there's a poop emoji, and it goes, oops, I told Laura that bitch not to walk there. Those damn preps never listen. Well, the page is getting shorter, so I gotta get out of here. Stay sweet. Much love always, Peaches XOXO.